ego tends to breed hypocrisy, because when someone's at a high stature or with a certain high status, they tend to go into manic rants because, well, they're egotistical. And man, there's been two people lately that have been very hypocritical, probably the worst ones, to be honest. And they just go on rants and rants and rants, and then they turn around and act like the victim, throw their hands up like, whoa, and they have some sort of excuse. So in today's video, we got Dumb and Dumber, hence Sean Strickland and Jamahal Hill. Let's start off with Sean Strickland. I've never personally liked him as a person. Never liked his way of going about things, the way he talks, the way he's very inconsiderate about people's comfort, feelings, and yeah, true, fuck people's comfort and feeling, a lot of you are gonna say. But the guy's just, he's trying, that's what it is. And ever since he went on this win streak that got him into the popularity that he finds himself in at 185s after winning the belt and whatnot, and being this character with Nina, I mean, he's taken it to, he's ramped up his hypocritical ways. And let me start off by saying, I remember still when he went on the Brandon Schaub Food Truck Diaries, which don't go watch it. Brandon Schaub offers terrible content. I mean, obviously better than mine, but he's just garbage. And I remember he said something jokingly, which I thought was jokingly, so I didn't think anything of it, and I don't think anybody else thought anything of it. We didn't make anything of it because it's funny. We get it. It's dark humor. But he went on about how he grew up in Riverside and how his dad used to be this drunk, violent guy. But he says that according to how soft society has become and whatnot, people need to experience a violent drunk dad, right? Like getting beatings and whatnot, right? And he's often joked about and talked about his opponents' families, their wives, just like Ian Gary, Machado Gary, and other ones, right? Making fun of Israel for having very feminine gay ways. So this guy uses people's family and your sexuality against you, which is in poor taste to me, has always been in poor taste. But now that he's lost to Dricus du Plessis, now that he's not the 185-pound champion, and even slightly before that, he started going on manic rants about the political state of the United States, society, and whatnot, right? How soft we are and men need to be men. Pretty much buying into the red pill, the Andrew Tate pill. But what I don't like is how Dricus du Plessis says something about his personal life and he takes it to the point where he wants to kill the man. There's things that you don't talk about. So there's clearly a line you don't cross with him, but he can cross anybody else's line. But not him. You talk about him in his personal life, it's over. You're a scumbag. And I just don't understand people like that. They are able to get away with it because obviously they are a fighting machine. And ultimately, I believe one of the ultimate factors of being able to talk your shit and do whatever and say whatever comfortably is the fact that you know you can beat everybody else up. Look how beautiful this is. Take a second. Right, so there's not many people that can go in there and shut his mouth up. Plain and simple. And I see it as fair. It is what it is. So they get to say whatever they want. As stupid and as ridiculous as it is. And infuriating as it might be. Jamahal Hill's the other one. I remember when Dana White on New Year's, Jesus Christ, learn how to spoke. On New Year's, slapped his wife, right? There was a little commotion. She slapped him. He slaps her twice back. camera cuts off because it's somebody recording up at a what it seems to be like a VIP room, right? From the floor room, someone's recording Dana White and his wife at a VIP room. He or she catches that moment, and it goes viral. So rightfully so, Dana White starts catching fire. And Jamahal Hill, who recently had the 205-pound belt, but had to give it up due to injuries, had something very interesting to say. He said, hey, well, don't put your hands on people and no one will ever touch you. He's pretty much standing up for his boss, okay? He says no, he's just pretty much saying, no, I'm not saying it's okay to put your hands on a woman. I'm just simply saying or stating, well, moral of the story, don't put your hands on anybody and no one will feel like they have to retaliate or defend themselves or whatever you want to call it, right? And I remember watching this because there's a Twitter handle I follow. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's something like Sandi or Cindy Bannana Chin or something along those lines. She starts logically tearing apart what he just said, and this guy just goes on a tirade, just insulting her, calling her all kinds of names, being super aggressive via social media, and I'll never forget it. And then that kind of dies out eventually. Nobody even cares about Dana White slapping his wife twice, okay? But Jamahal just tends to talk out of his ass because he goes on this ego trip about certain subjects that he thinks he knows better because he's the fighter. We're not. We're just fans. What do we know? We don't know anything, right? We don't have the right to criticize because we're not professional fighters. And I've just noticed this so much. And so another Twitter handle that I follow, I actually met this gentleman in Costa Mesa at a BYB event, Ben Davis. He posted a meme of a character from a show that I don't even have any idea what it is, what show it comes from, but he posted a meme of this guy kind of consistently checking his phone, and he's kind of freaking out at what he's reading about himself. And he tagged Jamahal Hill. He didn't even, as a matter of fact, I don't even think he tagged Jamahal Hill, but he typed out Jamahal Hill's name because it truly reflects him. And Jamahal Hill just completely went batshit crazy, lost his mind. And actually, as I'm following this thing unfold, Jamahal Hill not only starts saying, hey, it's because you're mocking me and blah 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 blah, which at first, fair point, I get what he's saying. Maybe he wasn't in the humor to see anything negative about himself on social media, I get it. But then he started making stuff up. So not only did he go egotistical and start making fun of people, and hey, you wouldn't say that to my face, which we know we wouldn't. They're like, duh, that's a given. But he starts making up stuff. Oh, it's because he called me a bitch and blah blah blah. And I think he uses a couple other adjectives that Ben Davis never used. And Ben catches on to this and questions him, hey, I never called you that. I just simply posted a meme, but I never called you out of your name. And he goes on to pretty much explain, but that's what you meant. You're making me seem like a punk, pretty much. And again, that makes no sense. Just don't put words in our mouths. Once again, Jamahal Hill is at it. He has a fight upcoming with Alex Pereira. There was an interview with Pereira about his fight coming up, and there being a possible event. I might be mistaken here, actually, about an event taking place in Brazil, like in a month or two, or something along those lines. I know I'm hugely incorrect, but it's somewhere along those lines. And so Pereira says, yeah, I would like to knock this guy out, you know, get him out of the way and be able to defend my belt on that event. So Jamahal Hill goes and posts, of course, he had to go to Twitter out of all places. He goes and he starts explaining, or he puts like a scenario where Poatan, Alex Pereira, says, I'm gonna beat him easy and clean. And then he posts something that he would say, you know, the fans go, you know, cheer him on. And then something that he would say is, you know, I'm gonna knock him out in the first round. And supposedly the fans, us, were getting on him about that, like he's delusional and whatnot. So what I found interesting is, of course, a lot of people started kind of telling him like, hey, almost nobody here is saying that. Nobody's really, you know, it's not catching a trend or anything like that. Like, we don't know where you're coming with this. And someone catches on to that, something more specific, and says, on that interview, Alex Pereira never said that he was going to finish you clean and easy, right? Because it was in quotes. He had typed it up in quotes. And Jamahal Hill pretty much responds with, well, how else will he be fighting in 3 weeks or a month? What is he trying to say? So I simply respond, you're still not answering the question. Where did he say that he's going to beat you easy and clean? Because if I remember right, Chris Leben was in a dog fight. Chris Leben, 185-pounder, and then 2 weeks later had went in there again to fight against Akiyama. It happens. So for Jamahal Hill to say that you trying to say you're gonna fight in 3 weeks means you had a clean, easy victory, no. It's possible though, because Chris Leben has done it in the past. It's possible. And of course he didn't respond. Of course, I'm a nobody. But I got like a little over 50 likes. And I'm just glad that a lot of people even commented like, yeah, this guy's not gonna answer. He's, that's his delusion, that he thinks that we're against him. And he like infuriates himself. And he says all this stupid shit, and he's very hypocritical and never owns up to him. But if you say something to him, hey, you know where my gym's at, meet me here. I was like, dude, calm down, right? He makes fun of Alex Pereira for winning a belt that was up for grabs. But what did he do? He did the same thing. John Jones relinquished his belt, right? Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz fought for it, went to a draw. So then they gave the opportunity to him and Glover Teixeira, which he wins, so he becomes the champion. And the thing is, congrats to him. I think a lot of fans would say congrats, because the show must go on, the division must go on, right? But keep in mind, according to his logic, according to his criticism of Alex Pereira, he never beat the champ. He didn't beat John Jones. But it only applies to his opponents, not him. He's the champ. He won the belt fair and square. Pereira, no, he's a fake champ because he didn't take the belt away from him. So I mean, I'm just tired of these UFC fighters with their egotism, being extremely egotistical, because they know they can beat our ass. But that's not the point, to be honest. That should never be the point of engaging in a conversation or thinking that you're higher than everybody else just because you can, you're pretty much a walking soldier, killing machine. Good, I'm glad. That's what you signed up for your whole life. That's not all of us choose that path. So if somebody watches basketball, they're not allowed to critique unless if they've been a professional basketball player. If someone's watching the Super Bowl, NFL, hey, I don't want to hear anybody saying then anything according to Jamahal Hill. I don't want to hear anybody saying or critiquing any team, because you guys, including myself, we're not professional football players, and including them, right? Because they're professional fighters, they're not professional football players. So hey, according to their hypocritical statements and what they want to tell us, and for us to shut up, is you can't criticize us. These two absolute fucking Muppets are the biggest hypocrites right now, the biggest complainers. And quite frankly, no matter what Jamahal Hill says, that, oh, I'm just having fun with online. You guys stay online 24/7, 7 days a week. I'm just doing this for a couple of hours. No, you're not. No, you're not. But come tell us. Come degrade us. Keep degrading us. But keep showing your hypocritical ways as well, man. That's why people don't like you guys. All right? We admire and respect your talents, but that's why we don't like people like Sean Strickland, and that's why we don't like people like Jamahal Hill. It has nothing to do with anything else but your hypocritical, just stupid logic.